Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Lost Codex. In the previous lesson, we explored the rise of the greatest empire this world has ever seen. The awakening of Kithix and his foul Aqir minions, and the war they waged against the troll tribes and the many Loa that lived on the slopes of Zandalar. Today, we explore the continuation of the Troll and Aqir War, the call to action answered by each of the troll tribes, and the many obstacles the Empire of Zul had to overcome as they pursued after the insidious Aqir. With Mithrax defeated and Kithix on the retreat, the Zandalari called for the Empire of Zul to assemble their forces. From here, they were to hunt down the remaining Aqir and ensure that none of their scattered numbers could retreat underground, where they could establish new colonies. The Zandalari urged that no corner of the land could remain unguarded, tempting the three largest tribes to rise to the challenge. The Drakkari, the Gurubashi, and the Amani all agreed to depart from their ancestral territories to establish new settlements in order to combat the armies of the Aqir Empire. To further entice the tribes into action, the Zandalari suggested that once the Aqir were stomped out of existence, these new, uncharted lands would be ripe for the taking, without any need for competition between tribes. The indomitable Drakkari were the first to mobilize, striking off northwards in pursuit of a colony of fleeing Aqir. Upon cornering the swarm in the north, they encountered not only the ranks of the Aqir, but a new threat unlike anything they had faced before: corrupted Tolvir. Before the Drakkari had caught up with them, the northbound Aqir had discovered a small population of Tolvir that dwelled far outside the walls of Ulduar. These Tolvir, which were also known as Obsidian Destroyers, were overwhelmed and enslaved by the Aqir's corruptive magic and sent crashing against the front lines of the Drakkari. Nevertheless, the Drakkari had survived ages of warfare and found ingenious ways to topple the massive corrupted Titanforge before continuing their ruthless slaughter of the Aqir. Far away from the Drakkari, several swarms of Aqir retreated in the polar opposite direction. While some swarms fled directly south, away from the sacred mountains of Zandalar, another colony made their way southwest towards the Titan facility known as Ankiraj, and it was the relentless Gurubashi who pursued after them. There, the Aqir overwhelmed the Titanforge defenders and overran the complex. The Gurubashi learned that sieging the walls of Ankiraj were futile, and soon, swarms of Aqir and Titanforge decimated their ranks. At the Zandalari's suggestion, the Gurubashi splintered into several smaller raiding groups and began a new tactic, harassing the Aqir ranks, bleeding their armies dry over time. The Gurubashi excelled at these brutal hit-and-run tactics, and while they were never able to fully wipe the Aqir out of Ankiraj, the Gurubashi eventually claimed uncontested control over the surrounding region. It was the fearless Amani tribe who chased off in pursuit of a large host of Aqir, led by the Cathrax general, Kithix. Wounded and weakened from its defeat in Zandalar, Kithix fled with its minions into the northeastern corner of the continent. The Amani were vicious and without mercy, cutting swaths of Aqir down in their path as they chased Kithix. In one final assault, the entire tribe threw itself at the Cathrax and its foul minions. Countless Amani were slain in this battle, but the suicidal tactic achieved ultimate victory for the tribe, resulting in Kithix's demise and the scattering of his armies. Although only a small portion of the Amani tribe survived, their reputation became legendary amongst all troll kind. With Kithix dead, the Aqir's vicious and unyielding nature dissipated, for without leadership or order, their motivation to fight vanished. Yet still, the trolls pressed on, for all troll kind shared a single imperative: the extinction of all Aqir. Centuries of constant fighting and endless skirmishes would pass, until eventually, the brutal, terrifying Aqir Empire crumbled to dust. Only small pockets of Aqir survived, their colonies withdrawing into the far corners of the continent. Proclaiming themselves victorious, the troll tribe set up residence in their new lands, and in time, great settlements, sprawling temples, and vast empires would arise throughout the ages. And although the Zandalari would withdraw into the sacred mountain city in pursuit of spiritual knowledge, they would forever maintain a strong influence of authority over the scattered troll tribes of the Empire of Zul.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Lost Codex. For this episode, we were happy to return to one of our incomplete lore chapters and finish it off, so that we could open the door to several new lore projects and histories that we've yet to explore. As always, I'd like to give a few special shoutouts, starting with Sir Thompshire. Sir Thompshire was able to make us a custom Zandalari King asset using King Dazar's model from the Battle for Azeroth dungeon, King's Rest. If you want to check out more of Sir Thompshire's work, check out his YouTube page or Twitter account, links in the description below. We'd also like to thank a returning artist, Isei-Silva. In the past, Isei has created a multitude of beautiful paintings for our lore videos, and in this chapter, she created the rendition of Kithix's defeat at the hands of the Amani Trolls. We're stoked to work with Isei once again, and if you want to check out some of her paintings, both Lost Codex related and some of her awesome other stuff, check out the links below. As always, what would a Lost Codex outro be without a proper thanks to our patrons? Each of the names you see here up on screen are real people who helped make this all possible, so thank you, patrons! For this video, we did a troll casting call to our patrons to show off their characters, both Zandalari and other trolls, so watch the episode again and keep an eye out. If you wish to join the names on screen or help support what we do, check out the Patreon link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't yet subscribed, well, what are you waiting for? Give that subscribe button a little tap and hit the notification bell icon to get updates on when our videos go live. We're also active on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, so as expected, links in the description below. Thank you all for watching, thank you all for supporting, and we'll see you again very, very soon.